What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. In this episode, I welcome you back. I welcome you back to the journey home from the gym. And in this episode, we're going to talk about gratitude and why I believe this is one of the strongest ingredients towards building a stronger mindset, towards changing the state of your mind, towards changing the direction of your energy. And what I mean by that is every single day when we open our eyes, we have a momentum about us, meaning that momentum is going to either push us out of bed and go amongst our day fueled, energized, and just on beast mode, right? Like, man, I can't wait to climb this mountain. That's one momentum. And there's only two. Guess where the other one goes? That's right. The other one goes towards the direction of hitting snooze or hitting hitting some sort of trigger in your head that makes you want to avoid going in or avoid climbing that hill. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I heard this one saying from a past colleague who told me, well, because we're talking about what was some of the greatest lessons that you've learned from your mentor. And I shared mine, of course, and a good friend of mine, his name's Craig, he said that the greatest lesson that his mentor ever taught him was that every morning, if you hit snooze, if one of the very first things you did in the day was hit snooze, imagine how strong your day is going to be, because it started with hesitation, meaning it started with procrastination. And so that was the very first hint of momentum, right? And I thought to myself, like, damn, I hit snooze at least two times. You mean shit? I got more fuel than this, bro. But then again, I wake up real early, right? And what's funny is I actually, just a side note, this has nothing to do with gratitude, but I purposely set my alarm clock on my nightstand. I set that bitch 15 minutes ahead. Right? Because it makes me believe that I'm either behind or I'm early. Just depends on what's convenient. Yeah, I've done that for years. I have no idea why I do it. It's silly, because at the end of the day, it's 15 minutes ahead. So you're like, okay, it's 15 minutes ahead. But when you wake up, then at least like, okay, cool, at least it's 15 minutes ahead. It's almost that reassurance. And I think that's probably why I got addicted to it, was probably like, oh, okay, cool, I got 15 minutes. And so anyhow, that's just the way I roll. But it made it a good point. He brought up, he's like, man, if the very first thing you did was hit snooze, that's the way you start in your day. And so getting back to my point is, every day our momentum is like a wave. It's like the ocean, right? And the ocean is just going in one direction. Sometimes that energy, the ocean momentum or energy can go in a different direction. And so we're somewhat like that. We're just in constant motion, right? And we're either going to go this way or that way, and we have a choice, and I'm trying to hack the code on how to control that choice. And so in the process of hacking it, I'm doing research, right? I'm even reflecting on how I got past things, because for those of you who watched the channel before, you kind of have an understanding of my history, but in case you don't, let me go and update you and bring it back again. When I grew up, I didn't necessarily grow up with my mom and dad. Right? I didn't grow up in a traditional family. I was moved around by my dad to different family members. Most of my life I spent with my mom's brother. My mom passed away when I was very young, and I spent majority of my life with my wife's brother, rest in peace, and his family. And ultimately, my cousin, which was my wife's brother's children, ultimately became my immediate circle, my family. Like, I grew up believing that they were my brothers and sisters, but they're way older than me. I was very young. The age gap's probably about a good 15, 20 years. And so ultimately, fast forward to now, one of my cousins almost became like my mom and dad. Like, they're just because they're the closest thing to me. Not it's like, oh yeah, this is my mother figure. She's the age and she gave birth to me. Not like that. I'm talking about the ones who looked out for me, the ones who housed me, made sure I got to school, that did all the parental duties, as my cousins and my auntie. Anyway, long story short, is that during those years, I had a chip on my shoulder. I had a chip on my shoulder because I felt that I was becoming a burden to everyone I came in contact with. I felt as if my my father did not want me and only wanted my other siblings. Because you got to keep in mind that even though I was moving around, I had other brothers and sisters who were not from, same mother as mine. My dad had many wives. I want to say at least 6 wives. And with every single wife, of course, he had children with, except his current wife today. Thank God she did not recreate. Gratitude. And so anyway, I had like another brother who's older than me by like a year and a half. But he had a different mom, and he had brothers with the same mom with 3 other my brothers. And so all of us, my brothers and sisters, I have no idea how many of us. I believe there's 11, but we're all spread out, right? And so my dad would take care of and even let my other brothers live with him, and my other brothers and sisters were always with him, my dad. And I would only get to be there probably like once a month, 2 times a month. And so, of course, seeing this, you wonder why. I was like, wait, how come I'm not staying with you guys, right? Or how come I'm not here? Not only that, but then my stepmom would tell me when my dad would walk away, would tell me and say, hey, you're fat. Why are you here? You stink. We don't want you here. Go away. You should go home. You should not come here. Shit like that. And, and so you're just a little kid. I was only like maybe 4, from the age of 4 all the way up to like 10, just hearing this bullshit. Anyway, I grew up with a chip on my shoulder. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because through those years, now looking back, what I didn't pay attention to was the gratitude that I should have had. I should have had the gratitude to know that I had a place to stay. I should have been grateful knowing that at least I had someone to get my back. I should have been grateful because it could have been worse. I could have been with a foster home. I could have been with my dad and just completely my life could have went in a different direction. But at the time, I didn't think about that way. I thought about it like, how come my dad doesn't want me? Right? Or how come I keep having to move around? How come I don't get to be with my other brothers and sisters? How come I have to move around? Right? And that's how I was thinking. I was paying attention to the now. I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. Now that I'm older, I get to now look at the bigger picture and realize like, man, if I would have stayed with my dad, my life would have been fucked. Because I am grateful that the family that I had who were there for me most of my life, they instilled to me the values of responsibility, the values of family, the values of leaning on somebody, the value of having a mother and father figure, and what that really meant. It meant for someone to have your back, unconditional love. And that's just what I ultimately wanted, and I had it, but I wasn't paying attention to it because I believed, based in the traditional view in society, that just wasn't it. And so when I had friends who talked about their mom or talked about their dad, or I physically saw my friends or even my family members communicate with their mom and dad and have a good time with their mom and dad, that shit hit my heartstrings, bro. Like, it fucked me up, because I wanted that so bad. But the problem is I overlooked the fact that I did have that, just with someone else. And so gratitude is really important, not only because it will change your mind state, but it will put everything in perspective for you. I want you to think about right now what you need to be grateful for and practice being grateful for it. Try, instead of focusing on what you don't have, show some gratitude for what you do have. Pay homage to the road that you paved to have the things you have today. And remember that before that road was paved, how bad you wanted the things you have today. How when you used to pray for the very things you have today, when you realize that your shit isn't that bad after all, and realize that, enjoy it for the moment, because there will become a moment where you don't want to look back at that moment and be like, fuck, I missed that moment. Make sense? So gratitude does a few things. It changes your state of mind. It helps you appreciate what you have in the now, and it helps you avoid regret. One of the most powerful pieces I've ever shared with you. And I believe that this video needs to ring a bell in someone's ear. Someone who's watching this right now is probably thinking, like, when they're going in, because all we're thinking about, like, man, my commission for February, dog, or my pipeline for March, yo, shit sucks, yo, man, fuck this, yo. And our attention is just based on this small little grain of salt on this big ass fucking plate of life. We're worried about this little speck of salt, right? Small as it is, and we believe it's big because we believe that that trickles up and then affects the whole fucking plate. But it's just one fucking speck of salt. You can flick that bitch off by simply putting in the grind and following Sales Remastered. Click the subscribe button, hit the bell. If you're on Facebook, hit that thumbs up. Comment, like, and share this video with someone that needs to see it. Remember, the lesson of the day is gratitude, and I hope that you practice it today. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.